What's up, Knicks fans? Before we get into the latest Donovan Mitchell trade rumors, I just want to ask this question to start today's show. Do you actually want Donovan Mitchell on the Knicks? It's very split when you talk to Knicks fans. Some say yes, some say no. So I want to ask you this question. Do you want him on the Knicks? Type Y for yes or type N for no. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. In today's show, we're going to break down the latest Donovan Mitchell trade rumors as they caught fire once again over the weekend. And then we have a trade idea at the tail end of the show that I've cooked up. Not saying I'd do it, not saying I wouldn't do it. Stick around so I can break it down for you. But first, these Donovan Mitchell rumors come from Brian Windhorst, who said this on his podcast over the weekend. He said, NBA executives believe Donovan Mitchell will be available for a trade at some point. There's been a lot going down in Utah. They just traded Rudy Gobert, and their GM, Justin Zanuck, said this over the weekend about Donovan Mitchell. He was asked if he is an untradeable asset, or what it would take, or what's the likelihood that you guys, the Jazz, would trade Donovan Mitchell. And this is what he said to the media. He said, change is inevitable in the NBA. I'm not trying to be cryptic or anything else, but Donovan is on our roster, and he's a very, very important part of what we're trying to do. Things evolve in the NBA, so I couldn't sit here and say anybody is, and then he paused, and he inferred he was untouchable, was not untouchable, and then he said, we're trying to build a championship team, but there's no intent there to trade Mitchell at all. You might tell me that there's no intent, but in English, what you said was send your trade offers in, because you said it. He's not untradeable. And if he's not, that means you're going to pick up the phone and answer every single call that comes in regarding a Donovan Mitchell trade. And to start those trade talks, you're going to talk about it, because you also told us that Rudy Gobert was not available in a trade. And then the Minnesota Timberwolves called it and dropped a Godfather offer at your front doorstep, and you had to make the trade. And that's what would happen with Donovan Mitchell. If a team comes out and offers the Jazz a trade package that they could not refuse, they would pull the trigger. They pretty much just told you that in that quote. I've got a trade package that I want to talk about later in the show, but I want you guys to go in the comments right now and comment your best Donovan Mitchell trade idea going to the New York Knicks. Because I think a lot of people aren't really on the same page of what it would take to land the Spider in a trade. We'll look at that Gobert trade to kind of get a baseline of what the Jazz are wanting back for one of their stars. But right now, comment your best Donovan Mitchell trade idea down in the comment section, and I will feature my favorite one on the next New York Knicks Now. If you haven't yet, make sure you go down right now and hit that big red button and subscribe to New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports, because we're putting out videos every single day of the NBA offseason on the latest New York Knicks news and rumors, and we are growing like crazy. And I want to give a shout out to everybody, all 2.7 thousand subscribers that we've gained over the past 28 days. But the analytics say that only 25% of the viewers we've had over the last 28 days are subscribed, which means 70% of you, 75% of you guys have not gone down and hit that big red button. And I want to change that. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers, and I want to get there as soon as possible. So if you want free daily videos on the latest New York Knicks news and rumors, go down right now, hit that big red button, youtube.com/KnicksTV. Send that to a friend. Send that to somebody that loves the New York Knicks. Tim McMahon, he spoke with Brian Windhorst on his podcast over the weekend, and this is what he had to say about the Donovan Mitchell trade rumors and everything that he's hearing. He said, the whispers around the league are that Danny Ainge is not convinced that Donovan Mitchell can be the face of a contending franchise. And I somewhat agree with that. Can he be your best player and you go win a championship? You got to have a whole bunch of other elite players on that roster, in my opinion, for that to happen. But this is the question that I've asked myself 10 times. Why would Donovan Mitchell want to stay in Utah? Everything they've done this offseason has told me, and if you've been paying attention, that they're rebuilding. So I'll believe it when I see it, when it comes to them building around Donovan Mitchell and trying to go and build a competent and competing NBA Finals type of roster. Because none of the moves they've made this offseason are any indication that they're trying to do that. Quinn Snyder steps down. He's been one of the best coaches in the past couple of years in the NBA. He's made the Utah Jazz a credible threat in the Western Conference. They also hired a first-time head coach in Will Hardy and gave him a 4-year deal, which is guaranteed. So you're telling me you're trying to win right now with a brand new head coach that's never coached before? I call cap. Then you traded Royce O'Neal, Donovan Mitchell's best friend, on the roster. So you're not going to make Donovan Mitchell happy. So you're telling me you don't really care about him being in the future plans. And then Eric Pascal, his childhood best friend, Donovan Mitchell, pushed extremely hard to the prior management that they should go out and get Eric Pascal because they were friends growing up. They did so. And then Danny Ainge and the new GM did not offer him a qualifying offer. And then you traded Rudy Gobert. Did you get a bunch back in that trade? Yes. Did you get a lot of first-round picks? Yes, but are those picks going to help you right now in 2022 to win? Not a chance. What I take away from everything that's happened from the Jazz this offseason is this. Danny Ainge is essentially telling Donovan Mitchell, this ain't your franchise anymore, homie. I'm running the show. I'm making the moves. I'm putting pen to paper. I don't care how you feel or if you even really want to be here long term. I'm going to do the things my way because it's my franchise, and I'm Danny Ainge. He's been there and done that when it comes to rebuilding a franchise and making them competitive once again. He did that with the Boston Celtics. So he's telling Donovan Mitchell, yo, I'm running the show, and this ain't your franchise anymore, homie. Let's go back, though, to the first round of the Western Conference playoffs when the Jazz lost to the Dallas Mavericks. And right after the series ended, a media member asked Donovan Mitchell, are you going to request a trade? And this is what Donovan Mitchell had to say, and I think this is very, very telling. He said, for me, I just want to win, yo. This hurts. Like I said, I'll think about it in a week and go from there. Donovan Mitchell knew the shit in Utah could go sideways, and it has. It has gone completely off the rails. They were one of the best teams in the Western Conference the past couple of years, and right now, they're not even close to that. And if he was talking about or thinking about requesting a trade after losing in the first round of the playoffs, and then everything that transpired happened, you don't bring back two of his best friends, you trade the franchise's second best player, you relieve Quinn Snyder of his duties, or he steps away, however you want to word it, and now you are where you are today. Does Donovan Mitchell really want to go through a rebuild? I say hell no, because when he lost in the first round and he was asked about a trade request, what did he say? I just want to win. And I'll tell you this much. With this starting five and this roster the Utah Jazz have, you're not winning there, Donovan Mitchell, with Hassan Whiteside as your center and Rudy Gay as your power forward. It's 2022. It's not 2012 anymore where Rudy Gay was a big-time player. Bojan Bogdanovic and Michael Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Hassan Whiteside, and Rudy Gay. Is that enough to win in the Western Conference? I'm no genie. I don't have a lamp to rub, but the answer is hell no. That's not even a playoff team. That's not even a team that's going to make it into the play-in. So why would Donovan Mitchell want to stick around right there in Utah? He doesn't. He just hasn't come out, in my opinion, and requested a trade, which it sounds like, according to McMahon and Brian Windhorst, that could be coming down the pipeline very, very soon. So as New York Knicks fans, I think it's a very important question to ask. What would it take for a trade to happen involving Donovan Mitchell? We've seen some superstars be traded this offseason, and Rudy Gobert and DeJounte Murray, and they've gone for multiple first-round picks. So I think we need to understand what it would take as New York Knicks fans. We have a whole bunch of assets that we'll show in a second, but let's look at the Rudy Gobert trade as a baseline of what Danny Ainge wants in return for Donovan Mitchell. He got Malik Beasley, a very young player. Patrick Beverley, he's going to be cut. Walker Kessler, he was a first-round pick in 2022. Then you also got 4 more first-round picks. So that's 5 first-round picks right there. You got a pick swap in 2026. So you control 6 of the future first-round picks of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and you also got Malik Beasley. So 2 good young players, 4 first-round picks, and a pick swap. That's the baseline. The Knicks, they have the assets to make the trade happen. They have 4 first-round picks in 2023, a first in 2024, 2 in 2025, and 11 first-round picks in the next 7 years. They have 22 picks, 11 first-round picks, and 11 second-round picks over the next 7 years if they want to make a trade happen. I'll tell you this much. The Knicks, they're not going to make 11 first-round picks over the next 7 years. When you say it out loud, it really doesn't even make sense how much draft ammunition the Knicks have. And they're not doing that to continue to add rookie players. They already have a whole bunch of young guys on this roster, 10 of them under the age of 25. So if you have 10 players under the age of 25 and 11 first-round picks over the next 7 years, and you have 5 first-round picks over the next 3 years, I can tell you this much. You're not going to make all of those picks. You're going to include some of those picks and some of these young players on screen to go and make a trade, because that's what you need to do. It is time for the Knicks to build for the future. And I know you want to keep giving those young guys minutes, but is that the best way to get back on top? I don't think you can give everybody minutes. You can't give Reddish, Grimes, Fournier, Rose, Quickly, Toppin. You can't give everybody minutes. So what about packaging a couple players to go out and get a superstar? It's been talked about. This is what I think it would take for the New York Knicks to make a trade if they didn't want to include R.J. Barrett. Because the plan is to build around Barrett and Mitchell after you make that trade. So Evan Fournier, Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickly, 3 future first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps. It is a whole bunch in a trade to go. It would suck. I'm not even sure if I would make this trade, but I do know this. Danny Ainge, he doesn't play fair. Go ask the Brooklyn Nets how they fared after their trade where they traded for Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. Ask the Timberwolves how they're feeling after they just got fleeced for 6 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert. This was the trade that put Danny Ainge and Trader Ainge on the map. When the Nets traded for Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Jason Terry, and DJ White, they gave up a fortune. They gave up 3 first-round picks, 1 pick swap, 5 players, and 2 of those picks became Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Danny Ainge knows what he has to do or knows what he has to get back in a trade involving a superstar. He's not going to give a damn if it looks like Leon Rose doesn't get the fair trade that he wants. He's going to do what's best for him and the Utah Jazz. And for that, it's going to take the Knicks to give up a bunch. Would it suck to see Quentin Grimes go? Absolutely. I love what he's doing. He's setting the summer league on fire. He's showing different parts of his games that we haven't seen before. I would hate to trade Emmanuel Quickly. I love IQ. I think he can be a super 6 man for the rest of his career. I wouldn't mind seeing Fournier go. But him, with Quickly, Grimes, 3 future first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps, it's a lot. But it costs to be the boss, and if you want to trade for Donovan Mitchell, you better empty out your piggy bank because Danny Ainge is going to come trying to grab all of it. So I'll ask you Knicks fans this question. Who actually wins this trade? Is it the Knicks because they get Donovan Mitchell, or is it the Utah Jazz because they get Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickly, 3 future first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps? Let me know in the comments section. Type NYK for the Knicks or Utah for the Utah Jazz. I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Fanatics, because they have all types of deals going on for New York Knicks Now and the real ones out there. When you go to chatsports.com/Knicks sale, you'll see a whole bunch of Knicks gear on sale that you need to get your hands on. Look, the school calendar or the school season, whatever you want to call it, I just don't have to go through it anymore. It's right around the corner. Get a backpack, get a hoodie, rock some Knicks gear through the summer, into the fall, and into Christmas. Just do it with our link, chatsports.com/Knicks sale. We got Knicks gear on sale all year long. I'll put the link to that in the comment section and description of this video. That's chatsports.com/Knicks sale. If you were to accept that trade, this is what the New York Knicks lineup would look like. You would have a good starting 5. Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson. But it's the bench. You are depleted of your youth and depth. Your backup point guard would be Miles McBride, then Derrick Rose. You get to keep Cam Reddish. Isaiah Hartenstein, who's really a center, would have to be your backup power forward unless you went out and signed someone. And then you would have Jericho Sims, the Summer League legend, as your backup big man. Is that roster good enough to win? It's better than where you were last year, but is it good enough to sustain success over the next 5, 6, 7 years? I have my concerns about a Donovan Mitchell trade. The backcourt between him and Jalen Brunson would be extremely small. Both players are 6'1", 6'2", and neither of them are elite defenders. Donovan Mitchell is a turnstile on the perimeter, and Jalen Brunson is an average defender, at best maybe a little bit above average. He's extremely smart when it comes to IQ on the defense, so I would like that, but you wouldn't have any switching versatility in the backcourt on defense when it comes to Brunson and Donovan Mitchell. And you would have to overpay to get Mitchell in a trade. We know Danny Ainge is going to pull every asset in the grasp of Leon Rose to trade him from the Salt Lake City to Madison Square Garden. And I also have concerns about the roster construction and the roster makeup. The top 4 players of Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, and Julius Randle are all pretty ball-dominant players. None of them are really that effective off the ball. Jalen Brunson is. We saw that with Luka Doncic, but he came here to be a primary ball handler. And I'm not sure how a foursome of Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Julius Randle, and RJ Barrett would work out. And does he make you a title contender? Does that move put you in the elite of the Eastern Conference? If the answer is no, you don't make the trade. Because in my opinion, it doesn't. I have concerns. I wouldn't do that trade. But look, it's the New York Knicks. We know they want to go make a trade for a star. They got a bunch of young players and a bunch of assets, whether it's Donovan Mitchell or somebody. I'm almost very sure that the Knicks in the next year and a half, are going to make a trade for a superstar. For who? I don't know. But in my opinion, I wouldn't want it to be Donovan Mitchell at this time for the New York Knicks. I appreciate everybody that's made New York Knicks Now a part of their day today. Look, if you made it this far in the video, let's hit the Real One roll call. Type Real One in the comment section because I like to, decipher the real ones from the fakers and the shysters in the comment section. I'm starting to see some familiar faces rep the Real One squad. So if you made it this far in the video, type Real One in the comments right now.